In your opinion, who do you think is the best vocalist?
So I'm gonna tell you just right off the bat, for me, it's Whitney Houston. Like, I think it will always be Whitney Houston. Like, I think out of everybody living, dead, Whitney Houston. I mean, I have my top three. Like, there's Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin. Like, if you heard her live performances for me are way better than even the recorded. So for me, it's like Whitney Houston and then Aretha Franklin, and then I don't know who would be my third, but I'll tell you why it's Whitney Houston as my first. Okay, it's her because so my mom, like, she was an immigrant, like, when she came to Canada, and she wanted to know, like, about, like, kind of like Canadian North American, like, culture. And at the time, like, she was growing up with, like, watching Elvis, right? But then when she was in her, like, kind of teen ages, she started seeing, like, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. And because Whitney Houston's a girl, you know, like a public figure at the time, and just like she seemed like a very kind, like, woman. My mom, like, for whatever reason, my mom, like, loved her, like, constantly watching her music videos, constantly watching her interviews. And then when I was born, that kind of transcended into me. So she was constantly telling me about Whitney Houston, constantly, like, to the point where she used to have, like, magazines of Whitney Houston. And they would be, like, all around our house. Like, yeah, she loved Whitney Houston. And because she loved Whitney Houston so much, I was, like, growing up, I grew up with Whitney Houston, like, being the one that I was listening to constantly, like, as a female. Then my mom also really liked Michael Jackson. So he's also, like, my favorite as well. Just because I know all of their music, like, I know, like, underrated songs that nobody knows that, like, yeah, like, for me, Whitney Houston was the best. And then she had this, like, Super Bowl anthem. Nobody since then has sang the anthem, in my opinion, like the American anthem. To that, like, regard, like, she set the bar up here, and then everybody else was just, you know. So, like, she was just able to do things with her voice, even live, that was completely, like, unheard of, you know. And, like, I just, like, I respect her. Unfortunately, like, the story is sad, like, with the, like, drug abuse and whatever. And, like, that, like I said, like, you need to be kind to your voice. So the drugs started ruining her voice, you know. Like, as you age, your voice kind of has wear and tear and stuff, and then the alcohol and stuff, it can really get to your voice. But even at that point, she was still better than most singers live, like, today, you know? So